There's a long-held belief that when a Vulcan mates, there's a shared psychic bond.
We didn't mate. Okay. What do you mean by psychic bond?
It's difficult to explain. Feelings, thoughts, even images can be shared.
Set a course for love.
Ah, yes. One of your earth emotions.
Glad I found you.
Let's get married.
Delete the wife.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Deep Space Love, the Star Trek podcast where a married Trekkie couple explores love in all its forms throughout the final frontier. I'm Nicole, one of your hosts.
I'm Joe, one of your other hosts.
How's it going, Joe? How you doing?
Okay, how are you?
I'm also mostly okay. As I think listeners who regularly listen may recall, we are based in Minnesota, in the Twin Cities area, and it's been hard to be a Minnesotan. I mean, I love being Minnesotan. What I mean to say, it's been hard to be in Minnesota recently, with all of the news stories that people may be familiar with that are happening around here. But so I don't want to ignore it because it's important. But I just want to say I'm proud to be a Minnesotan, and I love this state and the people, and we're strong and we resist, and we're gonna get through. But yeah, some scary times right now.
Yeah, and I know that a lot of people who listen to this podcast probably aren't necessarily from Minnesota, and I have people and friends will reach out and be like, what can we do to help? If you are interested, if you're interested in supporting Minnesota organizations or things going on in the Twin Cities here, I do have a couple links I will share. There's the Minnesota Immigrant Rights Action Committee is a big one, MIRAC. I will post that link. They're always taking donations and doing a lot of good organizing in the community. I don't always talk about my own personal job, but I work in the public schools, and a lot of the public schools have a lot of funds to help support families because we have large immigrant populations in our schools. So looking at the public schools always have a lot of good funds to help support the schools get food and supplies to families who need it too. So I would post some of those links in the show notes if you're interested in supporting those efforts at all. That would be greatly appreciated.
Thank you, Joe. And Minnesota strong.
Minnesota strong. But other than that, we're here to talk some Star Trek and ideally have some fun, bring a bit of levity to life. I mean, honestly, to me, rewatching Star Trek was the joy of the past few weeks, to be honest, singular almost.
Agreed. Yes.
And with a special guest.
We do have a special guest. I know. I apologize. We kind of went on a little bit longer than we typically do. But yes, guest today is Hazel Honeysuckle, who is a burlesque starlet and singer based out of Las Vegas. She's also an avid crafter, creating and sewing costumes for herself and other performers. She has been named in the worldwide top 50 burlesque performers in each of the past 4 years by 21st Century Burlesque. Amazing. Recently, she's released Boldly Stripped, a Trek-inspired photo comic featuring sexy and beautiful Trek-inspired photo shoots with professional quality alien makeup and costumes. Sounds amazing again. Boldly Stripped Volume 2 will be coming soon. Welcome to the podcast, Hazel.
Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for joining us. I'm really excited. I kind of followed the campaign a little bit. So I know that you've kind of reached a lot of people. So I'm really excited that you agreed to come on our little podcast.
Oh, awesome. I'm so glad to hear it. Marketing is not really one of my strong suits. So
we get it.
Agreed.
It is really hard. While you're here, I think Joe mentioned that we do have a couple guest questions that we ask all of our new guests to the pod. So if you're ready, we can dive into those.
Okay, yeah, let's do it.
Okay. Question number 1. Why do you love Trek?
I love Trek because it is hopeful. Mm-hmm. It is an optimistic view of our future. I think it encourages all of us to try and be better. I love a lot of sci-fi, but it is very unique in that aspect of a future we can look forward to.
Agreed. There's,
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe especially lately, there's a lot of dystopia. So
Yeah.
it's long been a breath of fresh air for the past 6 decades. We're on 60 now. Yeah.
Year 60.
Okay.
Yeah, this year.
Oof, glad I got that right. All right. So moving on to our next question. I guess there's 3. I said a couple, which implies 2, but there's 3. The next one would be, do you have like a home-based crew or maybe like your comfort food show? However you want to like sort of answer this question, that sort of gives us an insight to kind of your sort of pillar as far as like series in the franchise.
Well, I got into Star Trek with The Next Generation, so they're always like my closest family, you know.
Mhm.
I think that like Picard is, you know, just the most grown up you could ever want, you know, to like be passing judgment or helping you out with a problem. And yeah, DS9 would be a close second for me, but really it's Next Generation.
Awesome. Thanks. And last but not least, this is also pretty self-interpreted, however you wish to answer it. The question boils down to if you could go on a date with a character. This could be romantic in nature if you have a character in mind for that. If that's not the flavor that you want to take that question, it could be just, you know, would you grab a beer or a coffee or lunch with one of the characters? So however you want to interpret that. We put it as date, but date with a loose interpretation.
Sure. That's such a tough question. Like I feel like they're all just cool to hang out with.
I know it's getting harder the more characters that we add to in the new series.
Yeah. Bunch of new options for sure. I don't know. Riker would be real fun to hang out with.
Oh yeah.
I think Worf would be very interesting. Even Quark, actually.
Oh yeah, Quark.
It would be fun.
That's a good one.
Take you to some fun places.
It would not be boring with Quark, that's for sure.
No. Yeah.
Good answer. Quark is a good one. Yeah. I wanted to ask you a little bit about kind of like your work. This is like kind of be like the one like non-Star Trek-y question. So you do like a regular burlesque show in Vegas, correct?
Yes. I play a character in the show called Absinthe at Caesar's Palace. I've been there for several years now. It's a like a dirty circus show. It's really fun. It's a little bit different every night. You know, it's kind of like a circus variety show with hosts, and it's really like a local favorite and a tourist favorite. Like people come back over and over again. So that's what brought me to Vegas. I started doing burlesque in New York, and I did that for several years before I moved out here. Got started in burlesque in New York.
Awesome. Yeah, that sounds really cool. And I was reading your website, and it sounds like you were kind of one of the primary features of a documentary too, right?
Yes.
Can you tell us a little about that?
Documentary called Getting Naked. It came out in 2016. Where basically they filmed myself and several other performers over the course of a few years. I think it was 5 years.
Wow,
it's a commitment.
Yeah, it was kind of a span, and it was interesting, especially in my case, because they started filming me when I had only been performing for a couple of years. So they kind of got like my little growing up years as a baby performer. Yeah, and they actually interviewed my husband on that movie too.
Oh, cool.
Cute.
Yeah. Where can we watch it now? Is it available still?
Last I heard, it was available on Prime.
Okay, perfect. Prime.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, that's really cool. And so with the book that we were mentioned, Boldly Stripped, volume 1 is out and then volume 2 is coming out, you sort of melded like your burlesque like life with your love of Star Trek. What kind of like was something you always wanted to do, or were you just like, hey, I should give this a try?
Well, what happened was there was this kind of pandemic thing.
Yeah.
And, as a live performer, I had no work.
Yeah.
I was, more fortunate than a lot of other performers in that I could get unemployment. But I was at home kind of keeping myself busy with sewing projects and just watching Star Trek nonstop, just first episode to last episode, show to show to show, because of how comforting it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I started thinking to myself, I should just start making some Star Trek costumes. Wouldn't that be fun? And then I thought maybe I'll make a photo calendar, and then I just wanted to go all out. So I decided to make a whole book about it. And I got with my friend Danger, who is our photographer, and we came up with this Kickstarter campaign, and we raised the money for the book. It took us about 2.5 years to produce it. A few bumps along the way, but I am extremely proud of what we put out. And yeah, we then this past fall we ran another Kickstarter for the second volume. And I'm working on that now.
Amazing.
We've already done 4 of the photo shoots, and we have 2 more in a couple weeks.
Okay.
Yeah.
What a fun journey.
And the impressive thing about, I mean, it's impressive to begin with, but like the costumes that you make are like, they feel like you would see them in the show. Like they're really good. Like
Probably even slightly better than
especially
some
in
of
some of the older
yeah,
stuff, I'm
yeah,
sure.
kidding.
But like, but then the makeup too. Like, how did you get the
Yeah.
makeup so great?
Well, I paid professionals to do it. That's how I got
Makes
that done. I have a makeup artist here in Vegas who, we did a whole cast of my head and shoulders so that she can make my custom prosthetics.
Wow.
So she's made me, a Klingon forehead, a Romulan forehead, some pointy Vulcan/Romulan ears. We did. Oh yeah, I don't know if you had a chance to look through the book yet. We did a back piece for the Klingon because I was like,
yeah.
one scene where Worf breaks his back and you get to see a Klingon back, and I have to have that.
It's got to be accurate. Yeah.
It's so accurate.
Awesome.
Yeah, and then I've hired body painters to do that, to do the makeup as well. Like the Andorian and the Orion.
Mm-hmm.
The Borg was really fun.
Oh wow, yeah.
We had an artist that was just like airbrushing all these little veins on the skin, and it was just so beautiful. The tough part is you have to wash it off at the end of the day.
I was gonna say that must be tough.
Sad,
That's tough, yeah. But it's immortalized in photo though, so that's good.
Yes. Yes.
Is there any so you've listed a few of the aliens that you featured. Is there any aliens that you didn't get a chance to do that you're like, well, I really wish we could do this, or I'm hoping to do this one still?
I don't know. There are definitely some that would take a lot more involved prosthetics.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
I don't know. I've done most of my favorites already, but
right. I haven't gotten. I don't know what you've done in volume 2, but now I'm trying to remember too. I don't think I saw this in the first one. Did you do a Morn species from Deep Space Nine?
No.
Wait,
we don't have that one planned. Although doing the little the hairs would be really.
It would be fun.
Is there any Ferengi then?
We have done a Ferengi.
Awesome.
For the second volume.
Okay. There you go.
That was an intense one and really.
I would imagine.
Really fun.
That's so cool. I feel like we hear like the stories from the actors who are like in the prosthetics and
Mhm.
talk about how challenging it is to be in the, like, other than maybe like a Jeffrey Combs, like you can now say you've done like almost all of them, you know?
I was thinking I really need to, I think, just do all of the aliens that Jeffrey Combs has played.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
a good
And I'm
goal.
already halfway there. I've got the Andorian, I've got the Vorta, and I've got the Ferengi.
Yep. There's a couple one-offs he's done that like
Yeah.
are aliens. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a couple of one-offs that might be fun.
Yeah.
And Cardassian? Has he played a Cardassian?
I don't know if he played I don't think he played a card. Did he? It's a good
I'm
question.
trying to imagine his voice in like a Cardassian character. I guess he does have.
And a
I don't know.
supercomputer now. He's been a supercomputer.
That's true.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. How you do a supercomputer.
I don't know.
You can
but that would
dream
be
it, you
fun.
can do it.
Yeah. Curious though, like when you were first coming up with this idea, did you have something in mind? You were like, oh, that's like the sexiest alien race. Like that's the one I want to like, I want to do first. Or do you just kind of like had a list of ideas?
Well, I think I was most excited about doing a Klingon.
Ah, okay.
Ooh, awesome.
That one I had a lot of fun with. Not just like the getting naked part, but the whole,
Yeah.
military uniform that they wear is like just so cool. So I had a lot of fun making that.
That's awesome.
Yeah. They've all been fun.
Yeah. It seems like you're having a really good time with it. I mean,
Yeah.
if you're doing a volume
Volume
2,
two, yeah.
especially, yeah. We talked about your makeup and stuff, but like the one last thing I'll ask for about the book for Sarah is what was your favorite like costume to make then?
Well, I mean, the Klingon one.
The Klingon still
Okay.
also? Klingon makeup and costume.
Klingon. But each one is like a different challenge. What I've tried to do is not actually recreate any like specific named characters.
Okay.
Try to kind of come up with my own like this is one of the species. So I haven't really tried to exactly copy anything.
Right.
Except for maybe some of the uniforms.
Yeah.
I made a tribble. We did a tribble photo shoot, which was
Excellent.
real fun. Yeah, I made the the little dress, and I made about 50 tribbles, which is a lot.
That's a lot.
A lot of fur to sew.
At least they won't replicate or reproduce.
Yeah. Well, thank you for answering those questions, and thank you for sharing the book as well. It's incredibly impressive, and I hope that we'll put some links in our notes, and ideally people, if they haven't already heard of it, will definitely check it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're still taking orders for the second volume. You can also still purchase the first volume, which is $10 less now that we've started making the second one. So, you're in luck if you still need a copy.
Yeah.
BoldlyStripped.com is where you can go.
BoldlyStrip.com. And again, yeah, it's very impressive, especially the ones where you gotta have like a full like body paint and all that too. Like it's all, you go all out. It's amazing.
Thank you.
Before we get into our like general topic at hand, I always like to do just a little like Star Trek-y like news segment, because we do like a once a month podcast. Like there's lots of
been like 3 months.
of Star Trek. Yeah, it's been a while. Lots of Star Trek news that comes out. I don't know, it's fun. I'll just like kind of do my list, but if you want to stop and talk about, either of you want anything specific, we could totally do that. The first thing I just kind of want to mention for Trek Check is the Star Trek like literary world is really flourishing right now. There's like a ton of new comics that were announced for the 60th anniversary. There's like it's one called Star Trek Deviations I'm really excited about Uhura. It's like an alternate reality where Uhura had the city on the edge of forever instead of Kirk. But it's like during the civil rights era. So that sounds really fascinating. The Last Starship is one that I've been reading right now. I've been really enjoying. They just announced a new Starfleet Academy like spin-off comic based on the show.
Already.
Yeah, already. And in terms of novels, they announced a new novel coming out this year from Dayton Ward, set like right after season 3 of Picard, Captain 7 of 9, and it seems like Wesley's involved. The cover art looks really cool, so I'm pretty stoked for that. And there's a new DS9 novel coming out this year about Jake Sisko from Una McCormick is the writer. But it's after the show.
I like Una's books,
yeah. and it seems like it's kind of based about his time like traveling after the Dominion War, after he lost his father in that sense. So I'm very intrigued to see that. I feel like the Star Trek novels in the last few years have been really really kind of interesting in exploring kind of some unexplored eras of Star Trek. So I've kind
and
of been enjoying
enhancing
that.
some of the shows that have been out.
Yeah, I think that's been fun. A different part of the world, there's a new Star Trek video game coming out. There's a Voyager one. It's called Across the Unknown. Comes out in February. That seems interesting. Trek Talks. We've talked on the podcast previously with John Billingsley. He hosts.
It was like a year ago.
Yeah, he hosts Trek Talks, which is like a fundraiser, like Star Trek event. This Trek Talks 5, the 5th one, is coming out in March 28th. So we'll be sure to plug that as well.
Which benefits is it Hollywood
Food Coalition? Yeah,
Food
exactly.
Coalition.
Hollywood Food Co. The other thing, Star Trek Scouts, the big little kids show, the the toddler show. Our 4-year-old's really into it. That's been pretty fun. There was a baby Horta that was enjoyable. And Star Trek Academy. That's probably the biggest news.
Yeah, it's kind of the biggest.
That dropped. The new show dropped, and I think it's, as of this recording, there's been 3 episodes.
Yeah.
We've only seen the first 2 so far. Hazel, have you watched Starfleet Academy yet?
Yeah. I think we watched the 3rd one episode last night.
Ooh, so you're a little ahead of us. Yeah, we were waiting to watch with some friends. We get together, and so it's always kind of like scheduling when it works. But we'll probably do the next 2 together this weekend. But do you guys want to give some brief, like, sort of spoiler-free thoughts on what you think of Academy so far?
I don't know. It feels like they're trying a different genre.
Yeah, very different genre. Yeah.
So that's been a little bit of adjusting too.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
There's a couple of fun bits in the third episode where they bring in two TOS creatures.
Ooh.
So I won't say anything, but actually no, one was in TOS and one was in TNG.
Okay.
One of my favorite episodes.
All right, I'm intrigued by that. Nicole, what do you think so far?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely something new. But I think, Trek's ability to reinvent itself in various ways has been a strong aspect of the franchise throughout its now 60 years. And it feels like a breath of fresh air. I think I don't know. I think depending on what you love to get out of Star Trek, I mean, we're maybe a little bit worried that maybe some of the things that we love about Trek and what it stands for might be watered down given the
state of CBS Paramount.
The state of CBS Paramount. Thank you for wording it that way. But I was pleasantly surprised. And I the only thing I might say is the first couple episodes that we've seen so far, it does seem pretty focused on one character. So I'm hoping that we get a little bit more ensemble flavor coming in later, which it seems like that's where it's going to go. And we're just kind of establishing certain characters right now. But yeah, I mean, not that I have a problem with that, but I guess I just really enjoy the ensembleness of Trek stories and Trek series.
And I think the ensemble pattern of is part of the equality and just variety of beings that exist in the Federation.
Yeah, and getting those multiple viewpoints.
Yeah, for sure.
Totally.
But all that, I'm looking forward to the next one. It's been fun so far. It's cool to get this different perspective from young people, and at this time, I'm really excited to be back in, what is it, the 32nd century? Is that what it is?
The super future.
Super future. So all of that. Also, shout out to Holly Hunter. Awesome. I wish I could use better words. I keep saying awesome tonight. When I mean to use a bunch of other $10 words or $100 words. Spectacular. Loving that. Paul Giamatti is certifiably insane, and I mean that in a good way.
I've been kind of enjoying that they've introduced these, hybrid, multiple alien characters, since it's post-burn and all of this
Oh yes, being half Lance.
It's a
and
good way to
Nightmare.
like refresh makeup a little bit too, and just do
What
some
did he
different
call
things.
himself?
Clingerite.
Klingerites.
Yeah, what's nuts?
How about you, Joe?
Oh, I think it's really fun. I'm agreeing with both of you guys. I feel like there was like a little hesitancy with me in the beginning, but I'm enjoying it. It's very fun. I think that there's a promise it has to sort of like grapple with sort of some of the more unsavory legacies of Starfleet, with the younger crew being like coming in from like a sort of a more darker world or universe that they've inhabited.
Yeah,
and
having
like
experienced
trying
the
to
burn.
reestablish the optimism. I think there's some interesting stuff there that will be I'm excited. I'm hoping they're going to come into.
It feels right for this time
It
in
does.
Rio.
It
world.
does, yeah. Like
Mhm.
rediscovering that kind of the hope element of it. And I liked the second episode. It was like it felt like a classic, like almost like classic Star Trek, like negotiation diplomacy thing,
Yeah.
but like
I love
filtered like
diplomacy.
yeah, it's like filtered through like a Gen Z YA lens. And I think overall, like I've said this to some friends who haven't watched it yet. I was like, I think they blend that really well. But I think the mileage you get out of it will vary on based on how much you like those elements, of course, right? But I really liked it. I thought it was fun. Anyway, that's our Trek check for today.
Computer, status report.
What the hell was that?
Take it, Joe.
What are we talking about?
Today I'm really glad that you brought so Hazel, you brought this relationship. I mean, not that it's there in Trek, but we had not yet decided to tackle it. And I had long wanted to. We are going to be talking about Trip and T'Pol from Enterprise.
From Enterprise.
Hopefully listeners have watched some Enterprise, but
I'm sure that they have. Yeah. Just to kind of like get into a little bit of background of this one, like for the episodes that we kind of focused on was in season 4, but the relationship in general sort of begins in season 3. It was sort of like right after that Xindi attack, and T'Pol sort of helps Trip with his nightmares and lack of sleep, trauma over just like losing his family and his home on Earth, by like teaching him the Vulcan neuropressure technique, which is suitably like sexy for like the Enterprise setup. Like it just has to be like a very intimate and lack of clothing and very like that kind of vibe. So yes, they're very implying like a steamy setup there with them. But that being said, in season 3, there was some fun interplay between these two characters before that, but I think in season 3 is sort of when it starts to heat up. There was like an element of jealousy there, where I think Trip started doing the neuropressure to one of like the corporals, like one of the women who's in the Makos, yeah. And so there was some jealousy there that T'Pol had. So that's like there's some development. Ultimately, also T'Pol gets her like Trellium D addiction in season 3, which sort of like challenges her emotional suppression, which makes her even a little more open to like kind of being interested in a human, which she might not have been prior to that.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of factors that sort of contributed to it, but that's kind of like what leads us to I want to say where we kind of watched. So the episodes that I had mentioned, we focused on season 4, episode 3, Home, and then the 17th episode of season 4, which is called Bound, and then the last couple episodes of the season, save for the finale, which was Demons and Terra Prime. Those are the ones that we rewatched. Did you get a chance to watch those, Hazel?
Yeah.
Oh, amazing. And so it's in the first one that we talked about, Home. It's a very interesting episode on the whole, because it's kind of like that TNG episode where Picard goes home after the Borg invasion. A little bit. It feels like that a lot, where like Archer's dealing with like his trauma, like everyone's kind of off, like they're dealing with xenophobia on Earth, like Dr. Phlox in the bar. It's a really interesting scene. But as far as Trip and T'Pol go, Trip's like, I have nowhere to go. I don't have a home left on Earth. And
he kind of came specifically to record us to be like, yeah, it kind of sucks. My home was like
very much fishing
in the attack. Yeah.
For an invite.
Guess I just won't go anywhere.
Yeah. So he goes to Vulcan, and we'd already established that she had this like arranged marriage to this Koss guy. And that's sort of where they see them. What'd you guys think of that episode, rewatching it?
I mean, I think that having T'Pol bring him home to meet her mother was just like really amusing. You know, the Vulcan mother who, acts as you would expect.
She was an interesting character.
Teles, right?
Teles,
Yeah.
yes. Because she's clearly frustrated with T'Pol in a lot of ways, but like, I don't know. She seems kind of talks down. She's like, oh, you're kind of developing human ways, and like, why don't you?
So emotional.
But then she's also trying to protect her still. She could just come out and be like, I lost my job because of you, but she doesn't. T'Pol kind of has to figure it out. So that was really interesting to watch, but also just the way that Teles is like, yeah, so you are in love with my daughter. I can tell you, like there's just no hiding it. Like Trip's trying to be like super like neutral, like
he thinks he's hiding it,
He thinks he's
She's
hiding
like,
it.
I know you have a sexual relationship with my daughter.
Yep.
He's like,
Yeah, there you
whoa.
go.
Just comes right out and says it.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed that. And, all the while he's like, being her personal handyman for a little bit.
Yeah.
Really sucking up. Yeah. It works though.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess one of the more special scenes from that particular episode is when she goes to check in on him, get ready for the wedding. And I can't remember exactly. We watched that one first. And so I'm trying to remember exactly how it goes. But, he's essentially like, she's like, I know you have feelings. Like, you should like maybe. She needs this like marriage to happen. But like once she realizes that he's actually, I don't know, that his feelings are maybe genuine and coming from like, not just this like, I don't know. She seems to admire it, but and then when she's like, well, why don't you just tell her? I think she's kind of like, this is like a weird, like roundabout, whatever. Like, this is your last chance to kind of tell her how you feel. And his like response is like, well, no, she's kind of got enough on her plate already. Like, I don't need to complicate her decision anymore or make her go back on it. And like, just like not be this disruptor. And like, in a way, it's really self-sacrificing of him. And so then I think she's actually like, oh, damn. Like, she seems sad for him in that moment. And I feel like it's like it's probably a highlight scene in that episode for me.
Yeah. I think they both want the best for T'Pol, but like, her choices are not very good either way.
Yeah. And they're coming at it from different angles too, like as a mother and like a person who's in love with her. And so it is interesting when they finally do, come together and have those connections. Like, yeah, it's well done overall. Like I really like those scenes. I will say of the episodes we watched for this, those 4, there were 2 characters that stood out to me that I hate.
Okay.
And one of them is Koss.
I don't think
fucking
Koss
sucks.
is that bad.
He sucks.
I mean,
And Kelby.
Koss sucks.
And Kelby is the other one, the
Kelby.
engineering guy that's supposed to take over for Trip. Those 2 both, they suck. But yeah, Koss was being a little jerk. He was being like just such a little weasel because he's like, no, you got to marry me for like, and then and after a year you can go out because I want you to be happy. And I'm like, no, you don't. No, you don't. If you wanted to be happy, you'd call it off.
Nah, but that would be an emotional decision.
That's very true. Yeah.
yeah.
Anyway.
I don't know. It's so crazy. I feel like typically the way that you and I would have been the one. I'm a lot more strongly disliking of characters. And I was like, he's a bit annoying, but I don't know. Maybe
you had sympathy for him. I mean, it's probably like not common for a Vulcan to be rejected in their arranged marriages.
I felt bad for him.
I wouldn't have minded seeing a Trip fight Koss though.
Right? She brought up the battle, right?
That could have been fun.
Yeah. Classic. Bring that the TOS music.
Yeah, but you can't have a 2.0. I don't know.
Yeah. No, ultimately it's good that the way they went for it.
Yeah. Kelby though.
Kelby sucks.
Yeah. Kelby.
Yeah. But yeah, but the way the episode ends though, she goes through with the marriage. Like it ends in a weird spot though. Like Star Trek does that sometimes when it's like, oh shoot, we're at like 42 minutes, we got to wrap it up like really fast. But like
you still have to do that wedding
it's like
scene.
They go to the wedding and if like I think you mentioned when we were watching, you're like, it feels like a funeral.
Yeah.
But like they go there and then like before anyone says anything, it's just that's credits. And you almost want to think like, oh, the next episode they're going to pick up there, but then no, they just go into Brent Spiner and his Augment crew next episode.
Yeah. Okay, that storyline I didn't like, but that wasn't part of this.
But yeah, but we do throughout the season 4, like I think what happens later on is Teles ends up passing away. Koss like basically says we don't need to be married anymore. He kind of chills out. But that ultimately leads us to the next one that we kind of highlighted, which was episode 17 of season 4, Bound, which this was I'll say my opinions for a moment, but this was another one that we featured because 3 Orion women come aboard the Enterprise and basically make all the men like super sweaty and super horny to the point where they can't think. And then they give
all the women headaches.
They give them all migraines. Yeah, basically.
Loved that.
It's but the only ones not affected are Trip and T'Pol because of the special bond that they share that we learn.
Oh.
So that was kind of an interesting development. What did you guys think of this episode?
I mean, I love the lore that they added to the Orions.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was time. Time to give the Orion slave women some power. Yeah, and it was neat that they used that, you know, that idea of their like mental connection, to kind of give you that hope for everyone that wanted them to get together.
Yeah.
You know, yeah.
Yeah, that scene at the end because he's supposed to go back to, is it Columbia?
Yeah, the Columbia.
Yes. Is it Hernandez's ship?
Yep.
Yes. Because he was like kind of like sick of sort of this unrequited love, or like just having to sort of like work around her, but not really being able to have that like relationship.
That was when they were having like the dreams about each other.
Yeah.
Yes, which
exactly.
in
She's
this
mentioned the
episode,
daydreams. Yep.
yeah, I forgot, and
Yeah.
then he's like, "Oh no, I haven't been. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm dreaming about you." And then later, when they kind of are starting to figure out like their psychic bond, and he's like, "Oh, that's why I've been having those dreams." She's like,
So you have.
"You lied, yeah." Except in her Vulcan way,
Like,
yeah.
But like that's fun and embarrassing too, to be like, oh, we were in the same sex dream together. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well, except what does she say? Because we mated.
Oh yeah, we have because we share a bond because we mated, and Trip takes umbrage with the term mate.
We didn't mate.
We didn't mate. Yeah, that was good. This episode I think is really interesting because it feels kind of like a throwback to like a TOS episode, you know,
in some ways,
like
yeah.
because like there's all I feel like TOS has a lot of those
or
episodes
even
where
early
like
TNG.
like
Honestly,
the crew goes crazy for some reason. And like some people, like a couple people have to figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
But it even has, I think we're pointing it out at the end, like when they figure out what's all going on, like when they reveal that the women are kind of in charge and they have the pheromones or whatever. And T'Pol says like, well, at least they have something, right? Like they're like, did you just make a joke? And then they all laugh together.
Oh yeah,
like,
they did
was
do
such
that.
a TOS
They
like
did do that
ending
TOS
scene.
thing, yeah.
Yeah, where they all just like laugh on the bridge after a traumatic experience.
Yeah, where they all laugh at the Vulcan and they're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, you and your non-emotion. Are you joking?"
Oh, she's different than us.
Yeah, exactly. It is a fun episode. They definitely keep it very like gender normative is the phrasing I don't know if the phrase I'm looking for, like where it's
and
like
heteronormative, yes.
Yeah, that's it. Like it'd have been interesting if it was a little more like fluid, because I think there was like an episode not that long ago before this where there was like a seductress alien who like seduced everyone, but also seduced T'Pol and Hoshi at some point. So they were like willing to go there at times. Like they didn't go that far with it, but they just implied like they're willing to go there. But I think they kept it really like very straight and like hetero with the Orion stuff, and they kind of like rooted it in some sort of like biological competition element where it's like the pheromones make the women not feel good.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack, and then it kind of makes up for it, like you said, Hazel, the reveal about Orion culture and women's place in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the mating bond thing is very fascinating. I mean, what do you think about that? Like, I feel like that wasn't as explored as I would like it to be. I'm be intrigued by more of that.
It's been a while, so I don't remember exactly, how little it was explored or not. But I don't know. It clearly served like a purpose, for these two. So
Yeah, I don't think there was much more about that specific subject.
am I wrong? Oh, so I don't remember how many of the books you read. I feel like the psychic bond was maybe extrapolated on in the book series that kind of comes after the series ends and kind of imagines what really happened in These Are the Voyages. So I read like several of those books and into was it the Romulan War? I think it is.
So the Enterprise finale, the These Are the Voyages that everybody just hates, was the catalyst for you to read Star Trek books, because there was the promise that the first
Yeah.
Enterprise Trek book is called The Good That Men Do, reframes that story. And it's like a story like Jake and Nog and in future Star Trek are researching the past and being like, hey, that story was documented wrong. We're gonna set the record straight. And it's like, oh, he didn't actually die. It was a fake death for Section 31. And they all laugh about how dumb his fake death was and stuff. So it's a very fun answer to that to fans who weren't very happy with that. But while also keeping with the canon of that episode kind of still happening. So it was clever. And then you're right. They as the Star Trek books kind of progressed, they played with that sort of bond a little bit and how they were connected over space a little bit. And so that's a really cool. And yes, it's the seeds were in the show, and I would have been especially given we learn more and more about Vulcans and their mental capacities and stuff, it would have been really interesting, kind of just laying the foundation for canon of what a Vulcan human relationship would be, because the only other one we really see is Sarek and Amanda, and that's just they're already well established and happy.
Yeah, maybe we need to do them sometime. I've already got a rating in mind.
Oh, there we go. But yeah, it's interesting. It's a really cool idea, I think. I don't know, but yeah, interesting episode. Definitely not one of the highlight episodes, but kind of an enjoyable rewatch and a silly one. And then the last two is, I kind of think of, they're kind of one episode. It's one long episode. It's the Demons and Terra Prime. And it feels almost like the real sort of finale of the series, where the seeds of the Federation are starting to be, planted and growing a little bit there. But then there's the payoff of the sort of the xenophobia that we see in that home episode with the Terra Prime organization led by RoboCop or Peter Weller. He's great. They chose.
It was good casting.
I'm really glad they chose a good actor with heavy charisma and who's able to really play it off in kind of more silent and calculated way. He was really good in that role. But he was he basically was holding Earth hostage by saying all aliens have to leave the planet. This is a humans only space, and then it takes the DNA of Trip and T'Pol to create a baby. A daughter for them, which he wants to present to the world as an abomination, essentially. And so that's a general sense of what that plot is. And the Enterprise crew tries to go undercover on his little station on Mars to figure out what he's doing and try to get the baby and save everybody. What do you guys think of these ones? Talking is hard.
Yeah, I liked the idea of them being surprised with this baby, just by the way, surprise baby. And I think that having Trip not trust her that she didn't get pregnant was annoying, but he came around, I guess.
Fox called him on it too, which was good. He's I suggest you keep that to yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Believe women, Trip. I don't know. Rewatching those two episodes was, felt a little present right now.
Yeah.
Oh God.
All that xenophobia stuff. But that's having them at the end say, that they could have had a viable baby in the future. Then you're oh yeah, maybe they'll be happy together. Yeah, I don't know. They had a sweet little baby. I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard to this one is it's sad.
Yeah, I know.
There's so much. I will
Star
say
Trek kills a lot of kids. Can I just put that out there?
It happens
dang.
more often than you want to think. But
yeah, we won't go into that.
We get so many cute shots of the baby, so it's really sad.
I know.
Her little
it also she doesn't look sick at all. Every time T'Pol puts the tricorder by the baby, she's looks all concerned, and I'm like, that baby looks just fine. I don't know, like, what is wrong with this baby?
Yeah.
They could put like a yellow light on it or something, so it looked sick.
Yeah. I mean, baby wasn't taking the acting cues, I guess.
Yeah, act sick.
Act sick, baby.
Yeah. Or even like sleepy, like she's like awake and alert.
Very
It's
happy.
very sweet. Yeah, it's a wild ride. It's like an interesting sort of I mean, if we're not gonna count or like kind of consider these are the voyages, which jumps forward in time anyway. It's an interesting place to leave these two. And I think, we were talking about this after we'd watched a lot of these episodes, but both of those characters are probably like, they have such interesting arcs throughout the series as a whole in Enterprise, like where they each start and then where they end is just, it's such a journey. And like, they do get even though it's an ensemble cast, right? It sort of feels like the Archer to Paul Tripp show in a lot of ways. Similar to how some of the other series have,
like a big three.
The big three. Yeah. And, I mean, Archer obviously has kind of his own arc, but the way that Tripp and T'Pol evolve as individuals and also as a couple over time is, a really kind of fascinating journey. And it feels like a sad place to leave them, even though, like you said, there's like that kernel of hope. And as the audience, we know that Spock exists in the future. So like Vulcan human relations and their babies are going to be just fine. But, where they're like, we could actually have like a baby if we wanted to. But like, it just sort of ends with them grieving, which is hard.
Like trauma bonding.
Yeah.
Oh.
What did you say about Connor Trenier about that scene?
Oh yeah. I think we didn't watch the commentary, but I think somewhere in various like trivia pieces online, in that I think he talks about how he's barely acting, I guess. Like I think his wife had just told him that right before like they were filming those that she was pregnant with their first child. So he, I think, probably was like thinking about the idea of like, wow, like if my baby died, like, it was a little bit more real for him at that point. So it's sort of an interesting thing to think about.
They seem pretty genuine.
Yeah.
Tears.
Yeah. So
I mean, yeah, it was like you guys are saying, it's like sad and a little hopeful, but it's like ultimately it's a really good scene. Like it's done really well. Like the
Agreed.
two together, and
sometimes with heavy stuff, I mean, like Trek will go there, but then it's like they do kind of want to pull you back from the precipice a little bit, and like they don't shy away from like going all the way to the edge in that one.
No, for sure. Yeah. It was so sweet that T'Pol chose to name the baby Elizabeth, right?
Yeah, which kind of harkens back to what we were talking about early season or throughout season 3, their relationship really starting to become embedded, with like, Trip working through his grief, and like T'Pol, the Vulcan, non-emotional, somehow being like an important support person for him and journeying through that grief. So that is a very like sweet aspect of the episode, although then she dies like his sister did, so it's kind of also terrible, but the sentiment was great.
That's great.
Yeah,
they just go through it.
They really do. They're put through the ringer. I mean, a lot of Star Trek's characters are, to be fair.
Yeah, when you take a step back, yeah.
But yeah.
I'm so glad you brought
the relationship that started out so like hot. It was like, the acupressure, the neuro pressure sessions, the dreams and stuff, and then they like have a dead child. You're like, that's not where I wanted it to go.
I know.
Yeah, it's a strange turn that took.
Yeah. I mean, it's like a I guess it's a maturity thing. Like, I mean, like the Enterprise in general is a very interesting show because it was trying really hard to be like a little bit edgier and quite a bit sexier, right? With the decon chamber stuff. And even just like you said, with like the steamy scenes, like they pushed the boundaries of what I think they could show on network television in a few times. Right. But it ultimately, there's a lot of maturity that does shine through with some of the sequences and like some of the themes that they end up addressing and stuff. So it's cool to see those at play, especially when season 4 unfortunately seems to be like really where the show was like hitting a hard stride, and it's when it kind of was abruptly canceled. Unfortunately, it'd be interesting to see what they would have been able to go forward with. In terms of what actually happens to these characters in the future, like the These Are the Voyages finale does imply that they kind of like ended their relationship, which I think a lot of people were bummed to hear that, because it feels like after all that setup and stuff, like that's kind of a bummer, even though I think the books go a different route. We do see, let's see, what was I going to say here? Oh, Jolene Blaylock does come back in that Lower Decks episode, the penultimate one of that show, which was kind of a big deal. That was really fun. It was technically an alternate universe to Paul, but she implied that her and Trip had got married and were together for like 63 years and were super happy. And I feel like that was just like Mike McMahon projecting like what we all like want to believe happened.
Yeah.
You know?
That was a nice touch.
I truly appreciate that. And I like to think that, you know, that's maybe what could have happened, or maybe what happens after he's out of Section 31 in the books. We'll make that canon. I don't know. Is there something that you guys would have liked to have seen if they were able to let that relationship go further? If they were able to, like, if it wasn't just kind of like done there?
I guess really just they were already kind of working through being the first, or at least Trip, you know, being like the first like human to be in like an actual like intimate relationship or start a family potentially, you know, and be like married to a non-human, you know, just sort of exploring. I mean, we got a little bit of that, right, with like T'Pol going home and visiting her mom, and
culture clash.
The culture clash there. Yes, thank you. And
he also was the first human man to get pregnant.
That's true. Yeah.
So he,
you know, that was the funny thing you're pointing out. Like it was like, did T'Pol secretly get pregnant? Like he's like, I've never been pregnant. And it's like, Trip has.
Yeah. Actually, out of the two of them, he had. So I don't know who he is to talk, but
yeah.
Especially because not knowing he got pregnant. So I don't know. You know, he's like, I don't know how you could just be pregnant and like not tell me, or like, what do you mean you don't understand? I mean, I don't know. To be fair, I guess it was early on in their human exploration, but they have warp drive. Like cloning is not. I don't know. Like I
mean, it's a weird situation. I guess. Probably,
I suppose
everyone's confused and stressed.
I know. Like if it had been two other like crewmates, they would have been like, we literally have never.
Yeah.
But. Yeah.
True. I guess I just asked that question because I do think like rewatching these episodes, like they're like, especially with the bond and stuff, and like you're mentioning the culture clash, I just feel like there's so much interesting stuff that would love to explore. Like we've seen other like human alien relationships, but like melding those two things, we don't see it much with Vulcans anymore, other than Amanda and Sarek, like we mentioned, like, and they're way further on in their relationship, and we only get like a little tiny bits of the contention that they had in Vulcan society. So it'd been kind of cool to see some of that play out in a different way. And I don't feel like it was really realized in that finale when they're just like, we ended it. It kind of sucks. Another interesting question I had for you guys, I was just doing some reading into like how the series was reviewed back when it was first coming out, which as with any new Star Trek, there are lots of people who are upset about it. And Enterprise was definitely disliked by a lot of people at the time. But there was a concerted effort. I heard the writers were interested, it sounds like from a couple sources I read, interested in making a romance within the big three main characters, but they really did not want to make a T'Pol Archer thing happen. And I think that was addressed in season 2, where they had like a possibility of a relationship, and they were like, it's not going to work between us.
Yeah, there was a weird thing.
And they kind of put it to bed. Yeah. Which ultimately I was glad about, because I do think that the Trip T'Pol relationship was more fulfilling overall. Just giving like their backgrounds and where they come from, and they're kind of like in a sense the most like they butt heads the most in the beginning, you know, which was really interesting. But anyway, like there was a lot of negative fan reaction to this relationship when it was kind of being established. I was kind of wondering, why do you guys think that might have been? It's a hard question because I honestly don't know. Like, I feel like it might have been just rooted in like people just wanted something to be upset about or something. But like it feels like it's really, I think it's overall, like we're going back, it's a really interesting story. Like they're kind of like, it's complicated. It's not a very like clean love story. It's not a will they won't they. It kind of is will they won't they.
Yeah,
And
it was a bit
they
will
keep
they
will they
won't
won't
they,
they
yeah.
throughout it, but it's like it's very complicated throughout it. And I feel like it gets to the messy emotions of what some of those relationships could be like, especially cross cultures.
Yeah. I think there was a lot of talk about Jolene Blaylock being like overly sexualized
That's a great point,
just
actually.
in
Yeah.
general throughout the show. You know, and so throwing her into like whatever relationship, you know, I'm behind it. You know, I wasn't following the show as it was coming out. I watched it later.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I don't know. I was a fan.
Yeah. That's a great point. I kind of like forgot about that for a moment, but that is a true point that there, yeah, she was that era. The cat suits that they wanted the women to wear, that was definitely something. And they definitely put her in a lot of situations where she would have to be like scantily dressed at times or in really tight clothes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I could see that. But
I don't know. I think like haters are gonna hate sort of is a good other reason, because usually there's not really like even like a good reason for it. I don't know. Looking back, it sort of makes sense that it's the two of them. Yeah, and for some of the reasons that we already stated, I think. I guess I was actually going to ask Hazel sort of what out of what, because we all wanted to do this, but Joe was like, "Hey, like, there's a guest who wants to do Trip to POL," and I was like, "Yes, I'm on board." And so I'm curious, especially because like maybe because it sounds like TNG is kind of like your home base, like you mentioned in the beginning. Like, what about this relationship was fun to explore over like, you know, something maybe in like TNG or a different show?
Well,
most people don't bring Enterprise episodes to us.
I know, right? Well, I figured that was probably one you hadn't covered yet. But also, you know, that like you said, they do go further with the like the steaminess in this show than they had in previous shows. So, you know, I've definitely read some slash fiction about these guys, and you know, they're just fun. But yeah, what, you know, you asked me that question and I was like, what comes to mind? And this was one of the first things that come to mind, but there are so many other good choices.
For sure.
So, yeah, I don't know why. This is just one of the relationships that's stuck with me.
I think that's fair. I mean, it's like Nicole was saying, it's definitely one that's been on our list to do. I feel like we've kind of alternated a little bit on the podcast between doing like kind of the power couples, quote unquote, of the series, where it's like, you know, ones that are like the overarching main characters, and then we'll do episodes that are just like on a one-off, like romance from an episode, romance or something
of the
too.
week.
Yeah. And it's fun. It's fun to look at both in different ways, because they, you know, the shows and the episodes and the writers always approach them all very differently. But the overarching ones are usually big, and sometimes I'm like, oh, we need to really like save that for like a guest that wants to come talk about that for sure. So it was exciting that you brought this one up to us. And
yeah, no, I was happy about it.
And it truly, like I mentioned in the beginning, like it truly felt like kind of revisiting like a little bit of Happy Place, going back to Enterprise. I'm like, oh yeah, I really do like Enterprise. Like sometimes I forget to put that up there. I'm like, it does kind of rule. Like there's a lot of great stuff about it. So it was nice.
I don't know. In regards to your question, Joe, going back, I'm like, I don't know. Well, because I feel like over this series, like if I were to have like a little crush on any of the characters in Enterprise, Trip would be it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't know. But I never felt like, I don't know if sometimes when people feel like attached to a character, they like that character, and, you know, or have like, you know, sort of that like crush feeling, if like when they get together with like another character, if they don't like that character, they don't think they're good enough for them or some reason, like there's like a weird like
fantasy of it or something,
jealousy kind of thing, or they're like, oh, like that person's not good enough. So I don't know if that was maybe from both sides, you know, if there was other people crushing on Trip and they were like, you know, especially given the way that T'Pol was presented, was that like, I don't know, offensive to people, or vice versa, were there guys like that, you know, were like fawning over like T'Pol, and we're like, I don't know, upset that kind of I don't know.
Could have been
Little
just
country boy kind of gets to Paul. I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, no, I could see that.
That's
A
interesting.
little
Yeah.
bit. Or, yeah.
Good point.
I don't know. Probably haters going to hate.
Let's just go back to
I'm
that one
just going
again.
to go back to that, but that just popped into my head.
I think that's a good segue. We on this podcast have a patent pending. I don't know.
Okay. Patent pending.
It's not actually.
No, it's not.
But a rating scale where we rate the romance in question.
It wouldn't be a patent anyway. It'd be copyright.
Patent. It sounds better to say
No.
patent. A 5-point scale, and I'll go over the scale, and we'll each rate how we think this one might fall. Starting from the lowest is a red alert, which is a very toxic, bad relationship. Yellow alert is slightly better, but not great. Fascinating is sort of middle of the road, where maybe we didn't get enough with it, or we would like to see where it goes, or it's just, kind of middle of the road. Then we have a fully functional, which is just an all-around solid relationship. And resistance is futile, which is too hot to handle. So, where on our patent pending rating scale does Trip to Paul fall for you?
Well, if our guest has something in mind,
Do you want to start, Hazel?
Let's see. Well, I personally feel like it started out as a 5, right?
Oh yeah.
And then it got more like, emotional. They got to know each other. They comforted each other with their troubles. And I feel like they set it up like they could have had a real good, like solid, emotionally supportive relationship. And they didn't for whatever reason, but I like to think it was going to go there.
Okay.
So maybe a 4.
I am fully functional.
Fully functional. Okay. What about you, Nicole?
Yeah, it's interesting because they seem to, but like you said, like we don't end up seeing sort of, I don't know. I'm almost at the point where I don't even want to recognize these are the voyages, unless I'm counting like the book universe afterwards, in which they do end up having a relationship. But even then, they really have to kind of fight for it. I feel like it should be like the fascinating or fully functional, though I'm like, are they functioning? But then I'm like, I'm just going to put them at resistance is futile.
Resistance is futile.
Because I think it was hard for them to resist, for sure. And when I stop to think about it, I can't really like resist like enjoying them as a couple. So I'm going to put it there and just imagine that they did end up, because they deserve some happiness at some point. So I'm going to just imagine that that's what happens.
Yes.
Yeah. Well said.
What about you, Joe?
I don't know. I'm actually still wavering in my head. It's really hard. I think that
we're convincing
the thing about this one is I think the fact that we talked about it's like this kind of constant will they won't they. Like this episode, this is like basically the like it's complicated. It's the relationship, like that's the whole thing. But I don't know. I think that like I was leaning towards fascinating initially. Because I just felt like they kept like kind of being together, kind of not. But I think like just given the arc that we do get with them, and I think you guys kind of pulled me in the direction of like the hope that we can kind of have in our headcanon a little bit with it. I'm going to go with the fully functional, the number 4.
I am fully functional.
Okay.
Just because I ultimately think that despite the problems and the fact that they're not always committing, like there is kind of like there's a passion there that's irresistible, and they are kind of emotionally healthy with each other. Like that episode on Vulcan, like Trip wants, doesn't want to be that disruptive force for her. He like doesn't want to make things harder for her, and like there was some mistrust in the baby episode, but like they were like on the same page. Like once they got on the same page, like it was.
I felt like it was brief.
It was brief. Yeah, he just like had to explore like some difficult emotions, and then go into some talking to his pal. He's like, "Yep, nope, you're gonna just lock that one away and not talk about that again." Like the maybe she's secretly pregnant thing. get that off his chest. And then he's like, and like they're in this together. They're supportive, and so like I appreciate their characters and separately, and then as they got together, I think they kind of complemented each other in a lot of ways. And so I think I'm going to give it that fully functional for that reason. So, yeah, I really liked it.
So wait, so what's keeping it from a resistance? I'm sorry.
I don't know. I think maybe the reality element of it, where it just didn't get there quite yet. Like it's more my hope. I don't know.
Okay. I don't know. Well, I'll
not satisfied with my answer.
I do feel like there's a brief scene where, so he has that conversation with Phlox about like, so be real with me, like, was Paul pregnant? And like, I just didn't know. And Phlox, you've explained, Phlox is like, just stop.
Yeah.
But then I think she confronts him, like they're about to go do something a little bit later. I don't remember what, but there's a brief scene where she's like, you still don't believe me. Like, this kind of psychic bond. Mm-hmm. She can kind of tell. I don't know if it's related to that or if it's just like her Vulcanness, where she can sort of, or just she knows Trip really well, where she's kind of like, you're holding something back. Like you still think that I lied. And he's trying to like explain it away, where he's trying to be honest, but like also be like rationally, he doesn't really believe that she would lie, but it's like Occam's razor, where he's like, this is like the only thing that makes sense to me right now, but I believe you, even though it doesn't make sense to me. So
yeah.
I feel like he's like, but then they get interrupted. So like they were about to have a little bit more conversation about it, and then it just ends. But I do feel like he kind of puts that out there. There's this like little scene where
that's true. Yeah.
Where she's like, I know you still think that I'm hiding, that I hid something. And he's like, okay, you got me. But like, I also am like trying to fight that feeling or that thought.
Yeah.
Cause like, I do believe that you wouldn't lie about it. So anyway.
Yeah.
Whatever. I love them and I can't resist it. So
awesome. Yeah. I love it. Great. It was good. Yeah. Thank you. And thank you, Hazel. This was super fun. I really enjoyed this conversation.
Yeah. This was fun. I love to talk about Star Trek.
So do we. That's why we made a podcast, I guess, right?
Yes.
I know you mentioned like there's a whole list of great relationships. Like truly, if you ever think of like, hey, I'd really love to talk about this, like other romance in Star Trek, you know where to go.
You know what I was thinking about the other day was when Jadzia wanted to stay on that planet that only comes into their universe like once every several years.
Yes, that's right.
She's like hanging out with this guy for like 3 days and just like, I'm gonna leave my life behind.
Oh my God, yes.
There are a few of those, where they just decide, I'm gonna stay here now.
Yeah, there's like there's occasionally like romances, but that one was pretty drastic where she was like, I think I'm just gonna drop my entire life, and everyone around her is like we don't want to tell you what to do, but I think you're making a mistake.
It's so funny. Like there are so many where like the characters are just like, I'm gonna leave my life behind. But you have to have them back to square one in the next episode.
Right.
So.
That's totally true. That was true of the ghost sex candle one. Beverly was like, no, I'm going to go live down here now.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, she was under the influence.
Technically, there was the influence there. Jadzia was
she just decided.
I don't know if there was really anything else going on there.
She just lived long. Maybe it didn't seem like it was going to be that long.
No, Beverly and the Ghost is like one of the most bananas stories they've ever come up with.
It is nuts. We will save that Jadzia episode. That's yours next time you want to come on.
All right. Yes.
Is there anything else that you wanted to plug at all that we didn't mention for anyone listening?
I just want you to check out my book. I will definitely be at STLV this year.
Oh, cool.
So, awesome.
I guess you're right there.
Are you guys going to make it?
Yeah,
60th
jealous.
anniversary?
I don't think so. We actually got tickets. I think you may have told the story in the podcast, but we got tickets in 2020. That's when we tried to go.
It was your 30th birthday that year, and that was your present. Your birthday happened right around the time everything shut down. Yeah. So I was like, hey, we're going to go to Vegas, I think. And then
maybe. And then
it got pushed like December that year. And then as we approached the fall, it was pretty clear it wasn't going to manifest.
So we actually have not been yet, but it's a dream, and we want to make it. I don't know if it's in the cards this year. We did a lot of traveling last year, so we're covering financially. But maybe I don't know. Maybe next year, 61, the off year. Maybe it'll be more chill. I don't know.
I think it'll definitely be more chill next year. You know.
But there's a fun energy about 60.
But it's always great.
Excited to hear.
Well, That's what I was saying. I get like the Creation Entertainment emails, and so they were like, "Oh, these passes are selling out," and I'm like, "Gosh, it would." Not that it wouldn't be crowded in like an off year, I know, but
Yeah.
I'm also like, there's almost like too much. I get a little bit like decision frozen, where I'm like, well, what do we do? I don't want to miss this, or I don't know. It would almost maybe put a little stress on me.
Do you go every year?
I've been going the past few years.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't really been a convention person in the past. Crowds are a little much for me sometimes, I think.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah. But I've been going and, slowly kind of meeting people and getting into the world. And I've also been doing some other like general nerd conventions, and I do, I dress up in some of my Star Trek cosplays when I go, and it's just, I'd say one of my favorite things about STLV is like a lot of the actors will just be on the exhibition floor in their booth, just like chatting with people all day. It's more relaxed and chill.
I'll have to hear that.
And you get some really obscure cosplays, which is absolutely fun.
I love that.
I would love that. We did go to a local convention this year, or last year, I guess. Twin Cities Con.
Yeah, Twin Cities Con.
Yeah, and we got to meet Oded Fair. That was cool.
That was pretty cool, yeah.
Yeah. So a little bit of a Star Trek connection.
Yeah.
He was there for the Mummy, but we were
That's
there
true.
for
It was a Mummy thing. Yeah.
We saw him for Star Trek.
Yeah.
I actually got to show my book to a bunch of a bunch of actors.
Oh, nice.
I showed it to William Shatner.
Wow, that's awesome.
At GalaxyCon, and
That's so cool.
Sweet.
He flipped through it. He was like, "Oh wow, that's so nice."
Amazing.
And then he told me about how he used to go to burlesque shows, but there were people in the front row who would wear their trench coats. It was weird.
It was weird.
Oh man,
sounds memorable. At least a memorable experience.
Indeed.
That's amazing.
Again, thank you for your time, Hazel. This has been so fun.
Thank you so much.
Meeting you and chatting with you and talking Trip into Paul. Thank you everyone else for listening to the episode today. As a reminder, you can find the pod at DS Love Pod on Instagram, Threads, and Blue Sky. So give us a follow if you like what you hear, and always open to ratings and reviews wherever you listen.
Drop those 5 stars.
Yeah. So until next time, everybody, love long and prosper.